This episode of Movie Jungle is brought to you by Qdoba, because that's what we had for dinner, and so that I decided is our sponsor. And
if only they actually sponsored us.
That'd be great. Qdoba, if you want, we're open to it.
Meanwhile, back in the jungle.
All right, everybody, welcome back to episode number 7, officially, of the Movie Jungle podcast. Well, it's just called the Movie Jungle. I don't need to add the podcast word.
Obviously, it's a podcast. People found you in a podcast platform, so.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today with me is, once again, my wonderful cohort, Betty.
Hey, everyone. You get me again because of COVID-19.
Yep, and hopefully again. But also things seem to be headed towards a recovery type of direction, so maybe I can get back to having more cool guests in person. Also, I'm working on getting some microphones, or talking to people about getting their own microphones so we can do better mobile setups if we need to.
Yeah, it might be ideal.
But I like having you on, so I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I can't be every week, though. I don't want to spoil everybody.
You don't want to spoil them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if you guys behave yourselves, well, for Christmas, we'll give you like a month straight of Betty episodes.
No.
So next January, if you're good, only Betty for 4 straight episodes.
No.
This is not a good idea.
Do you know how much effort it is for me to just like try to talk about anything for a long period of time?
Except that that's the exact opposite of the truth. As
Why you gotta call me out?
You'll all about to hear that I'm right and she's wrong. Okay, so we're gonna touch base a little bit here. How you been? You staying sane?
I was, and then my dumb butt trying to do things against a home workout video tweaked my back, and so I've been.
She has an incredibly interesting history of back problems. I like to say, my baby got back problems.
Yeah. So one of those chronic issues flared up on Friday.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of suffering since then. So, but other than that,
yeah. So it goes
I'm
way
managing. It's just the pain is enough to make me insane.
For you, it goes way back to like childhood.
No.
And, like, well, but at what point did your back take the shape of like a lower letter G? Like a lowercase G shaped back.
It's not. Okay. Do you know what a lowercase G looks like?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Okay.
Like your back.
Yeah. Have you seen one of my x-rays? Have I showed you one of those?
I was going to say like Z or S.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
But it wasn't crazy enough for me, so I went for the lowercase G.
Having a full S curve in my spine isn't crazy enough for you when everyone else is like up and down.
I guess it should have been crazy enough for me.
Because it wows enough other people, but no, it has to be G for you.
Yeah, lowercase G shaped back.
I had to be like full contortionist.
Yeah. But you had like full on surgery, so it's not like...
Yeah, which
you have a steel rod in your back. So there's not your average back problems. And when she does complain about her back, it's something that I take seriously because she has legitimate alignment issues that she's dealt with forever.
It's true. And this year marks 10 years since that surgery. So yay, back's just trying to remind me to like, don't get too comfortable. Yep. You still got issues.
Yep. So we'll wrap up the medical portion of the podcast.
But yeah, that's been my week.
Yeah. So your back problems.
I've been watching a lot of movies.
I've been doing almost one thing exclusively for the last like 10 days. There's been one thing on my mind.
Oh, Lord help me.
Rollerblading.
Hey,
Inline
got you out of
skating.
the house.
So I used to be a soul skater back in the day. And you know what's funny about this? I started falling. So I've been rollerblading again. I like refurbished my rollerblades, which was a super smooth, inexpensive process. And I regret none of my decisions.
By the way, just somebody one time just ask him in the comments like how this actually went, because, or maybe ask me and I will actually tell you the truth, because the smooth part of that, not so much.
No, it wasn't smooth at all. I ended up spending like way more than I thought I would need to, and I should have just bought new rollerblades. It was quite a saga, and Betty's the only one I have here to talk about with it, and I like to share.
Thanks,
as you
COVID.
guys know. And so I got to share all the ups and downs of the rollerblade saga with Betty, and it drove her crazy a little bit, but we made it. Came out the other side. But I've been having a ton of fun on my blades.
Yeah, like I said, it got you outside.
Yeah,
So
I'm loving it. But what's funny is I started researching this a little bit, and it seems that we were all, like, there's a whole bunch of people near my age and, like, in their 30s that were inspired by Brink. Like, I used to rollerblade before Brink came out, and then when Brink came out and it was about aggressive rollerbladers, aggressive skaters, I was like, what? Thanks for making this movie specifically for me. That was nice of you.
by the way, we need to save that one, like redo that, like watch that one, like and comment on it in the podcast.
Totally. I think it deserves, like, that and Johnny Tsunami deserve, like, their own episode.
Yeah, 100%.
Extreme. We'll save that for the Extreme Sports Disney Channel original movie episode. So I've been looking it up, and on Reddit, there's, like, in the rollerblading Reddit, there's, like, every other post is like, hey, another one of us back in their 30s getting back into blading. And I'm like, wow, this is like taking the America by storm, and they're all me. I've never felt less unique in my life to get back to rollerblading. And then I go look it up, and everyone that's posting is also in their 30s, also hasn't skated for 15, 20 years, and also getting back into it now.
Well, yeah, because it's this thing called Corona.
That's a small part of it. It's been...
Well, because people got in, they're like, oh, hey, I'm bored. Let me clean my house. And then they go and, like, find them in their garage or their closet or something else.
Yeah.
Or in your case, your mom's garage when she moved.
I've had my skates have been here for a long time.
Really? Where?
In our little storage unit thing downstairs.
Oh, again, we're cleaning things out and we find things. And then people have time, so they're like, or they're home with their kids.
The weather just got good, and I had time, and I thought about it, and I was like, yep, I'm going to do that again. Mm-hmm. So I just quickly grabbed them and started skating. Easy peasy.
Oh, yeah, it was totally easy. Totally peasy.
I had to get new, totally peasy. It's the peasiest thing. I had to get new wheels and bearings because my old wheels, I had used them so much that they had worn through the urethane and were wearing down the plastic. Like, they were on their way to just rolling on bearings. It was bad. Anyways, so that's what we've been up to. I've been thinking almost exclusively about rollerblading. It happened shortly after the live episode. For anyone that saw the live Instagram episode, thank you for tuning in for that. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you remember it well, because I lost it. I didn't realize that I wouldn't be able to...
It's a truly rare gem.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to, like, go back, and I was going to record it and find a way to put it on here as a bonus episode, and I totally messed up, and I didn't get it while I could because the 24 hours went by, and then it was gone forever.
Well, you live and you learn.
It was super fun, though.
Then you get loves, whatever that commercial is.
Yeah, so pretty much since then, that episode until now, I've just kind of thought mostly about rollerblading.
Yeah.
I'm playing basketball. I've been playing horse with my brother via FaceTime. That's pretty fun. Anyways, let's get into a little bit of movie news. This is a movie podcast, as you can clearly tell so far. Mm-hmm. Betty, what's our first news item? What do you want to talk about? I made her do homework. I asked her to bring a couple of small little nuggets to talk about. What's the first one?
And so this is how you and I differ in just the way we approach things. Like, you give me a short amount of time before this.
Yep.
Whereas me, if I had known that, like, oh, so-and-so is going to be my guest and, like, they may need to talk about other things, I would have given them a day.
I told you as soon as I knew that I wanted you to bring your own news stories, I walked into the bedroom and told you in that exact moment. So you had the same amount of notice I had.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, you came up with a couple great things, so it worked.
All right, fine. Whatever. I digress. So the first one that I came across that I found pretty interesting was the prequel that had been discussed for a long time for the prequel for Hunger Games is finally, like, moving forward. There was the rumors going around for Suzanne Collins. I think that's the author.
Susan or Suzanne, either way.
So that she was going to be writing a prequel, and, like, basically as soon as, like, word went out that she was writing the prequel, Lionsgate, Wow, I can't believe I remembered that.
I think so. You can grab one of those Blu-rays if you want. What does it say? Can you see the logo on the top? Can you tell what the logo is
No.
on the spine of it?
My eyesight is not that good.
Okay.
Anyway, they basically like bought the rights for the screenplay for that book, even though the book has not been written yet. And they have decided to. Sorry, he's distracting me.
Keep going. Sorry.
They have decided to move
reach for
forward
it myself.
with the production of that film.
The prequel.
Yeah, and it has a title now. It's going to be called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and it's going to be 18. No, I forget.
18 movies.
No, it's going to be. I thought it was going to be 18 years, but I think it's going to feature a 18-year-old President Snow, but he is not. What is it, Cornelius?
Oh, weird.
So he's going to be like one of the main people, and he is going to be interacting with some young girl from District 12. That's all I kind of gathered about like the synopsis of what it was before my time ran out. Before
your research window closed.
Yes.
That's so funny.
There's no release date yet, but I'm very excited about it. I mean, I am and I'm not, because I don't know how much of this kind of world I really want a prequel of, because I liked the happy ending of, yes, let's get through the crap.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like I'm kind of living in the Hunger Games right now, but that's fine.
Totally. I feel like I feel a little bit over that, because like Hunger Games, when it came around, was like an amazing, wonderful breath of fresh air. I was like, this is such a unique, incredible thing to see on screen. Like, nothing felt like Hunger Games, in my opinion, when it showed up. And then after that, we got The Giver and Maze Runner and
I mean, all the other
Divergent, like all these other teen
dystopian books that had been around a while, but like,
just the vibe of Hunger Games, of how it's like pretty depressing, but with like moments of like cool stuff, was fun the first time. Honestly, by the time you get to the fourth movie, it's like, okay, let's wrap this up. But just those depressing dystopian vibes, I'm pretty over at this point. So I guess it just depends on the vibe of the new movie and what the story's like. If it's going to center around, I have a hard time getting excited about a movie about Snow. I don't care about him.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm going to read it because
he's the villain.
I really enjoyed the books, and I enjoy like the author's like writing style. So I'm definitely going to like consume it. But again, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on like how she writes it, because obviously she's phenomenal. So
is she writing a book?
She's writing a book. But then they also were doing a screenplay.
Doing the movie at the same time.
Yeah. So
that's crazy. That's pretty cool though. I mean, I'll see it for sure. Like, I love Hunger Games. I think they're dope. And honestly, by the time it gets here, I'll probably be ready for some more Hunger Games specifically. But everyone else that wants to make depressing teenage dystopian movies, just, you don't have to.
You don't like anything sad though.
That's not true. I like The Sixth Man. It's really sad. Is
it that basketball movie?
Yeah. His brother dies during a basketball game.
Well,
Thanks for bringing it up.
Anyway, I'm moving on. So I apparently have been living under a rock, and even though I check IMDb for like the new trailers and like what's coming up and all that stuff pretty often, just because I'm bored.
Once a year?
No.
Okay.
No. But this one apparently snuck by me, was the movie The Jungle Cruise. And as soon as I saw that, it was like, because there was news of it being, it was supposed to be released in July, but as everything else this year, it's kind of up in the air. So they have moved it to spring of 2021. Yep. And I was like, what? Jungle Cruise? Like,
so to be clear, the news we're breaking now is that Betty learned about the Jungle Cruise movie, yes, and then she learned that it was delayed.
Yes. So one, I got super excited,
in your defense,
and then I got very upset. All within a 30-second time span.
So I'm over the moon excited for that movie because You're
obsessed with the jungle, and you love that ride.
I love jungly things. I love the rock. I love the ride. I love Disney. Like, I'm just very excited for that film. And it immediately sent my brain racing to the other rides. I want a Big Thunder Mountain movie. I want a Matterhorn movie. I want a Space Mountain movie.
Do you think they only did this because the Pirates did so well?
I think this has nothing to do with Pirates. I think they're too far apart. I think it's just riding the wave of Dwayne Johnson.
Oh.
But I don't know. I take that back. I think that, yeah, because the Pirates was based mostly just on the ride.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Well, it didn't have anything else.
Yeah, it
That's
could
all
totally
it was
be.
was just a story within a ride.
yeah. So
And that's
yeah,
if you've seen the
I guess
trailer.
it's stupid to say that did not influence this decision.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for the Jungle Cruise?
Yeah.
Because that's basically the Jungle Cruise, just with Emily Blunt and The Rock making
And
it funny.
a lot of stuff where they're not cruising on a boat in a jungle. But the it looks amazing, and I'm super excited. In your defense, though, for not noticing that it was a thing, it hadn't even got to like its full like media stage of its promotion. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
even like filling the world with trailers and ads and interviews. So
Apparently, I haven't been paying attention to half your YouTube stuff though.
yeah,
Because normally you're always playing those movie news clips on the
Yeah.
big TV. So.
yeah, on the big TV. So I'm gonna chime in on a news story here. So the movie Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film, big deal when Christopher Nolan makes a movie. It's kind of cool. How many directors do we have that are like that, where it's like, oh, there's a so-and-so movie coming out, get excited? It's not that many.
No, I think there's just certain ones where like you can tell by the way that it's shot who it was. Like Tim Burton.
Yeah,
You can instantly have like the feel of a Tim Burton film.
totally. I think James Cameron is one.
Yeah.
If there's a James Cameron movie coming, people pay attention. But anyways, the next Christopher Nolan film is called Tenet, and they're sticking by it, and they're not planning to push it back. Obviously, if the theaters aren't open, they're going to just kind of slowly keep pushing it little by little. Apparently, Warner Brothers came out and said they're committed to the theater experience and all this stuff.
That one needs the theater
And
for sure.
Oh, totally. I mean, a bunch of their movies do, but a lot of companies so far this year have decided we're just not even going to play in 2020 anymore. And a lot of stuff is just like Sony pushed like every Sony movie to next year pretty much.
Yeah, they did that kind of early.
Yeah, which I don't like. I just push it a little bit. I'm sure there's so much more that goes into it than I understand. But Warner Brothers is leaving Tenet alone for the moment, and they'll just scooch it little by little, I think, if they need to. But that's good to hear because they're obviously, I mean, they're going to capitalize on all these other movies not being in theaters. But we watched the trailer for it right before the podcast to refresh our memories. And are you excited for it?
I'm very excited for it. I'm a little confused as to what is actually going on in that movie, but
Yeah.
you got some RPAT and you have
Did you just call him RPAT?
yeah.
Do you think my audience knows who RPAT is for sure?
Yeah.
I heard him called Robot Battenbat now. My favorite podcast that inspired me to even do this podcast is called The Weekly Planet, and they decided to call him Robot Battenbat, and it's my favorite it's better than Batfleck in my opinion. It's the greatest nickname.
Oh my god, I'm crying.
So yeah, 2 important things. 3, Betty might need her inhaler. We'll see. Another thing is call him Robot Battenbat now because he's Batman.
Battenbat.
Yep, that's his new name. And the
Okay.
other thing is go listen to Weekly Planet if you like movies because it's incredible.
Okay.
You'll probably stop listening to me if you start listening to them. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Anyways, so are you excited for Tenet?
Yes, I am.
It's got Robert Battenbat in it. John David Washington, right? Denzel's kid.
Yeah.
He's
phenomenal.
He's
I mean,
great.
like we loved him in Ballers. So as soon as I was like, oh wait, as soon as I saw his like picture come up the first time I saw that trailer, I was
Yeah.
like, yep, sold me. Like
Yeah, I like him a lot.
like 5 out of 5 to go see that one.
Christopher Nolan's great at making movies that, like, the subject matter barely interests me at all, but the movie ends up looking so cool that I just can't not want to watch it.
Well, I have so many questions, so I'm like, well, duh, I'm gonna go see it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm intrigued enough.
Full of
being like,
mystery and intrigue.
What's happening with the time? And
Like when Inception came out, I was
oh
like,
god, that one like broke my brain.
I saw the trailer for it and I was like, this looks stupid. I don't like the idea of going into people's minds. Like you're not actually physically there, so it doesn't even matter. Because I don't like things that happen in people's minds, and I don't like movies about mental problems, and I don't like movies that question what's real, what's not. That kind of stuff bugs me. I just don't find it that entertaining. But I went and saw Inception, obviously, because it looked amazing. And they explained it well enough that I loved it because it wasn't like super ambiguous. They did their very best to explain how they pull this off. And I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. And because it wasn't ambiguous and it was explained well. And so he earned my trust with Inception. So then something like Tenet comes out and this guy's like, this is all just from the trailer. Obviously, I don't know any spoilers, but like the guy's like dead. And then they're like, oh, you died, but you're a good guy. So you can help us with this stuff. And you got to see the world a different way. And time is different now and blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of like time travel too. I'm pretty lukewarm on. And so it's just too much weird stuff going on. But Chris Nolan makes it look so cool and interesting, and he'll probably explain it pretty well. So, and here's just this ambiguous word, Tenet, that I'm just going to throw in there for more mystery. Like, what even is all this? I need to go see.
Yeah, they had me at like, ooh, secret organization, and then you have like time travel and like all this other mysterious stuff. Yeah, I was sold.
Yeah.
It's like you had somebody like scaling a building. I'm going to see it.
Yeah, totally. Which is both impressive and not impressive, because on one hand, you'll watch anything. And so when you decide not to watch something, especially if I recommend a movie to you and you're like, no, I don't want to watch that, it hurts more than normal because you'll watch just about anything.
No, I have to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to watch an action movie all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want a stupid rom-com or a chick flick or a documentary.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to learn.
You need to watch Glow.
I'll get there.
And we need to watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy together.
One day. Maybe.
It's so fun.
Maybe.
I think you'd like it. It's quirky. If you want something fun, like a fun adventure.
I know. You've been pushing that one on me since we first started dating.
I've been trying.
Yeah.
I'm only 3.5 years in. I got time. You'll come around. So what else you got? You got some more notes written on that little blackboard.
Well, speaking of our bat and bat.
Raw bat and bat.
Okay. Anyway, our pet.
Boo. It's not me.
Batman has also been pushed back, I think, to November of 2021.
Yep. I don't remember. Do you remember what the other release date was? I don't remember.
No.
But
I thought it was later this year. But
either way, now it's November 2021.
Yeah. And the only other thing I have, it's not really movie related. I thought it was, so I got really excited and wrote it down.
So you prefaced this with you got really excited.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Because Apple is rebooting Fraggle Rock. So for anybody who is like born in, I don't know, before 1990, you probably understand like what the heck Fraggle Rock was and how impressive it was and how awesome it was. And Jim Henson was amazing.
Is that the one with the big old elephant thing? The, what's it called? Snuffleupagus.
No, that is Sesame Street.
No.
Yes.
No, but it was like Snuffleupagus. It was like Sesame Street.
It has Muppets.
Okay, so there's not Snuffleupagus in it?
No, that is Sesame Street, along with Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch.
Snuffleupagus just isn't in it that much?
No. Snuffleupagus is only in Sesame Street.
I'm Googling Fraggle Rock for pictures to refresh my memory. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was.
Like I said, Muppets.
Snuffleupagus.
No, there's no Snuffleupagus.
Right, but he's not in it. He's not in Fraggle Rock.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm looking at pictures. I remember Fraggle Rock.
If I have to do another month of this, I swear.
So Fraggle Rock is being redone, huh?
Yeah. So it's only going to be like short, probably like 10-minute clips, and it's going to be on Apple Plus.
Is there a castle?
I don't know. They're underground.
What's the one with the castle?
You mean
The Muppets and there's like Muppets and a castle.
what?
I'll Google it.
You thinking of like just a Muppets movie or?
No, it's a TV show. God, I love this because people are for sure. Eureka's Castle. That's what I'm thinking of this whole time.
I did not watch that.
People were probably yelling into their cars or whatever. Yeah, Eureka's Castle. That was my favorite puppet show ever.
Yep. That one slipped my mind. Fraggle Rock I loved that one as a kid.
Yeah.
So that was exciting for that. So
Nice.
That's all I got with my short window of research time.
You did great. I knew it would work. So
That's because I'm an A student. Always have been. Always will be.
Humble as well. So Back to the Future, a little bit of an update on Back to the Future, the original one.
I almost wrote this, but I knew that you would do it, so I
Nice.
left it
So
out.
apparently the screenwriter closed a plot hole and amid a kind of renewed debate. So online, basically, James Gunn was talking about how it's Back to the Future is like a perfect movie. And by perfect, he just meant like there's not any major errors with it, and it just like goes at a great clip for the whole movie, etc., etc. And who's to argue? I think it is a perfect movie. It's incredible, and I love it. And every time I watch it, I like it even more than I remembered liking it. So it's amazing. And then Chris Pratt pointed out, like, okay, but what about when he goes back to 85? Wouldn't his parents like remember seeing him in 55? Like, remember that kid that was here for 6 days or whatever? So the screenwriter chimed in on this. Granted, it's the screenwriter, so I'm just going to take their word as fact. And they just pointed out that they're like, yeah, they would have seen him in 55. He spent a total of 6 days in town. Didn't even see them every day he was in town. And I challenge any of you to go back all the way to high school and remember a kid that was even there for one whole semester. So he basically is.
It's 40 years
They're
later.
essentially guaranteeing that they would have forgot
30
about
years
this
later.
Marty McFly guy,
Yeah.
or Calvin Klein, as they knew him.
Can you imagine that like every single time they like looked at the actual Calvin Klein clothes or whatever it was?
It might have triggered a memory for him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that actually is a good argument against what the screenwriter is saying. Is like, well, yeah, but if Calvin Klein became a brand well known in the 80s, wouldn't your brain have started to go like,
Well, then again, our 80s were very different than their 80s.
yeah.
So
I think it makes sense though. You're not gonna 30 years later remember some dude that was in your life for you saw a total of 4 times or whatever that spent the night in your house once. Mm-hmm. So I think it makes sense that they would have forgotten him completely, or maybe it's just something in their back of their brain they never quite figured out why their own son was familiar.
Well, yeah, because I think they're just used to like staring at him because like they watch him grow up.
Yeah.
So they're not going to put like 2 and 2 together. If they were to just see him as an adult, maybe, but
Yeah.
they just got used to seeing his face.
So, anyways, that's what we got for the news segment. Hope you guys enjoyed the news segment. The news segment was sponsored by Boogie Board. Google it and buy a boogie board. They're really cool and I like using them a lot. I'm just hawking things that I like today.
I know. Well, so it's a erasable writing tablet that has come in handy for all of my note taking prior to this.
I have one at work too, and everyone that sees me use it's like, what is that?
I would need a massive
My
one
goodness,
for my
that's
job.
incredible. It replaces sticky notes. It doesn't replace like a notepad because it's
true.
not good for notes that you want to exist for a long time. I mean, you can just take a picture of it with your phone.
It's true.
But yeah, buy a boogie board, and Boogie Board sponsor me. Thank you. Looking forward to that. Fat check. So last time you were on the podcast, did we talk about your like favorites and your background and like? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't.
I think we should.
Go on.
I think we should talk about you a little bit. Give
Yay.
the people a little more background on Betty.
My favorite subject.
Humble, like I said.
I was being sarcastic.
And this time I wasn't. Because you genuinely are incredibly humble. So, your background on movies and stuff. Like, what stuff... First question, do you have a favorite movie?
Oh.
I know one that I know you love quite a lot.
I have some that I put on...
We call it Hanks Panks. The translation is Hocus Pocus.
Because Brian likes to take out all the vowels.
The language is fun, but Hocus Pocus, how high is that one on your list?
That one's pretty high. That one is a seasonable one, though. Like, there's certain things like
Seasonal?
Seasonable, whatever. There are certain movies that I have to watch during certain times of the year. Like,
Yeah, totally.
Like The Holiday.
Kyle-
If I do not watch that movie while I'm wrapping gifts, like, I'm going to lose my mind.
Kyle would be very proud of you. Seasonality in movies are as important to him as really anything I think I've heard him talk about.
Really?
Yeah, I think if you asked him if he could choose between like feeding the hungry and making sure people watch the movies at the right time, he'd think about it for a minute. And then he would probably just definitely feed the hungry.
Yeah.
But no, he's big into seasonality of movies.
Yeah, I think because it's like I have to be in the right mood for the film, and so like there's certain ones that like I will watch if I'm having a rough day or if I just need to cheer myself up.
Totally.
And that is, I always thought my favorite Disney film for growing up. Like anybody asked me, I'm like, oh, it's Sleeping Beauty, blah blah blah. Turns out, as much as I love Maleficent and like all of that, it's not. The one that I quote and the one that I watch the most when I'm upset is Sword in the Stone.
Yep, Sword in the Stone's your favorite Disney movie for sure.
So that one,
I'm excited for the live action Sword in the Stone reboot.
that's happening.
They're doing all of them, aren't they?
I don't know. If they don't get Archimedes though, I'm out.
The only live action Disney reboot that I'm really truly cannot wait for is going to take a while because they're going to have to go through the A-list ones first. But then once they get to the next tier of films and we get a live action version of Disney's Atlantis.
Oh, that should be higher up there.
Oh man, I'm going to
Now that they did
lose it.
Aquaman, they could totally do Atlantis.
I'm going to lose it when we get Atlantis.
I know Treasure Planet would be a good one too.
Agree 100 billion%.
Because those two did not get any love.
I'm so excited for those. Anyways, back to you.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite film?
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay, but you do like those two films quite a lot.
Yeah.
What about? Do you have a specific? Actually, first I'll ask you. Do you have any favorite characters or franchises? You like Harry Potter? That's how we met, more or less.
Yep. Thanks, Mandy.
We were introduced by our friend Mandy. She walked into I was at a house watching a football game, Go Cougs, and Mandy brought Betty.
No, I just came to say hi to Mandy.
What?
I just showed up at Sean's house because I wanted
I thought
to
you guys showed up together.
Mandy had been there.
So I was watching the game, like I said, paying attention to mostly just the game. And then Mandy walks up with Betty, and she's like, hey, this is Brian. He likes Harry Potter, too. Bye. And just ditched Betty. And then so we got to talking, and now I'm bugging her during quarantine. But, so Harry Potter you love.
Harry Potter.
Are there, franchises, characters? Give people a little insight into, your vibe from movies, tastes.
I would like to say that I'm a hopeless romantic nerd. Mm-hmm. So all the chick flick stuff, and the rom-coms, I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
We had a girls' weekend, and I think we watched 12 or 13 different rom-coms of from Steel Magnolias to a whole bunch of other things. Mm-hmm. Those musicals, love them. And then the Marvel franchise, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like a little bit of everything. I like some horror.
Yeah. You really are about moods.
Yes.
Sometimes you're just really in the mood for a classic action movie.
Yeah.
And then other times you want to watch a rom-com.
Yeah, I had no idea that I would like Fast and Furious because I'd only seen the first one. I was like, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then because you were watching all of them,
mm-hmm.
I watched them too, and I realized I'm like, oh, so this is just a dumb action movie. And then The Rock came on, and I was like, no, I love him.
Yeah.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we fixed that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone should like Fast and Furious. If you haven't come around on it, just watch it a few more times. All of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. What about any favorite actors or actresses? Who are your... If so-and-so's got a movie coming up, no trailer, all you know is they're in it, who you going to see every time?
Oh, God, what is his name? That's going to be terrible.
Rob Battenbat?
No. I was going to say Colin Firth.
Colin Firth.
I think that's who I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
The British actor who's
Yep.
in... Yeah. For some reason, I'm just drawn to him. Okay. And I love everything that he has ever done.
We look the same, me and Colin Firth, so that's a good sign.
I
get more people saying I look like Michael B. Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Totally see it.
But that's whatever. That's up to other people to decide, not me.
I don't know. I kind of give a lot of people chances.
Yeah. So it's not just you're not there for the big name on the poster.
No.
Okay, cool. So we've learned almost nothing about what movies you like. It just depends on what mood. But the consistencies are that you really like Harry Potter, you really love Disney.
Yeah.
Almost everything Disney
If I'm
does.
happy, I want a happy movie.
Yeah.
If I want to distract myself, I want like true crime or some kind of crime mystery, whatever,
I will say
and action.
when I catch you watching a movie, because you watch more TV than anyone
Yes.
I know except for Nathan White, who I named all the way, called him out completely there. He watches more TV than anyone I know last time I checked. But you also watch an incredible amount of television, and it's almost always procedurals, like every cop and doctor and firefighter show on TV. You just fill your brain with that stuff.
I take it back. Sandra Bullock.
Oh, I'm with
she's
you.
like,
Yep. We both love Sandra Bullock.
She's the reason I probably am into procedural stuff, because I was just obsessed with her movies, and most of those were some kind of like cop thing.
Yep.
I actually looked into, when I was in high school, I looked into applying, like, what does it take to get into the FBI, because I was obsessed with Sandra Bullock and I wanted to be like her.
Because of like miscongeniality?
No, there was like
The Net?
Numbers, and there's some other ones that she
Yeah.
was in. So that I was just like, I want to be Sandra Bullock, and the only way I can do this is I'm going to get in the FBI. And then I thought about it later, and I was like, I'm dumb.
I mean, you have brown hair though, so you're halfway there.
Yeah, but I don't.
But you're not an FBI agent.
I don't wanna
But
be.
neither is she. She's just an actress. She's just a theater dork in real life.
I will say that it's probably what, and like, got my chemistry degree because of all the crime movies I watched.
Yeah. Betty loves crime, so keep committing crimes, everybody. Yeah, so that's a good insight. Like, you watch those kind of things, and yeah, I don't know. If you guys want to know more about Betty, ask. Okay? I don't have time. I don't have time to ask her everything I can think of right now. Ask us questions on Instagram.
And maybe I'll be back.
We get very few responses on Instagram and Twitter at the moment, so
We will reply.
I'll almost certainly reply. Which is great. It'd be kind of a bummer if someday there was hundreds of thousands of listeners and I couldn't even talk to most of them individually. But right now, that's not the case. Anyways, what else have we been doing recently, Betty? What have we been watching? Oh, that was Game of Thrones.
Ah, dang it! Dang it!
That was a good try.
Oh, crap.
You want to try again?
No,
Okay.
now I have Game of Thrones in my head.
We watched all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Now, how does it go?
I don't know. I'll do it later when I can think of it, but I'm not going to sit here and be quiet until I can think of it. But
I was like holding on to that, and I was like all proud of myself.
so we watched all 5 of them, and I came up with a process for us to go through and talk about them, because I don't want to just an open-ended rant about all 5 movies.
Why
I
not?
thought it'd
That's
be
fun.
a little bit more fun to do like some specific stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to take it movie by movie and give them a quick review. Okay?
Okay.
But before each quick review, also spoilers for all of them. We're not going to like dance
They've
around.
been out long enough.
Yeah. Spoilers for all the Pirates of the Caribbean films. So before the quick reviews, though, you're going to tell me the plot of the movie just quickly.
Okay.
So starting with the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, what happens in like 30 seconds or less? I love putting you on the spot. You haven't screwed it up so far. So to be clear, she didn't watch this one with me.
I did. I just
you've
walked away.
Yeah. But you've also seen it enough that
Yeah.
you can...
So
Talk about
there's
it.
a pirate who's being chased by the government, and there's a kid who's out looking for his dad, and Elizabeth somehow gets wrapped up in it. I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm so glad I had you do this. I was barely close at all.
I just remember Jack Sparrow gets into some shenanigans.
Yeah.
He has to find a boat, and he has to find a crew.
Well, yeah, Jack Sparrow shows up to Port Royal to get a ship and a crew
Gets into trouble.
and try to chase down the Black Pearl and get the Black Pearl back because he lost it to Captain Barbossa.
Oh, that's the villain in this one?
Yeah. And then he lost it to
Okay.
Captain Barbossa because of he got mutinied and left on an island, but they got cursed with Aztec gold. So we're not going to go into the whole plot of all these, just a quick. And then, but it opens with Elizabeth Turner as a child finding Will Turner as a child floating around in the ocean, And they're like, man overboard, and they pick him up, and she finds a pirate medallion on his chest. You guys have seen the movie. That's all we're giving you. So what do you think of the first one?
I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a nice sense of adventure. This one doesn't have too many like special Jack Sparrow physics that it goes into.
That's one of the best things about this one.
It's more realistic of like,
somewhat, yeah,
swashbuckling
so this
adventures.
One, yeah, I agree. I love this one. I would say this is my favorite of the 5.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about happens in every other movie. There's at least one moment. Some movies have like 2 moments where they're just like, physics, no thank you. And they break the rules of their own world. And there's a sword fight on top of a rolling wheel that's going through the jungle. Or there's a pole vaulting scene catching fruit on a pole.
Or horses stealing an iron...
Horses dragging an entire building with an iron vault in it through a city. So most of the movies, all except for the first one, have some like physics breaking moments in them that I'm just like, ugh, they didn't need to do this. They could have just done something similar and it would have been great. But the first one doesn't really have any of that. It's also like the least crazy over the top, because like the rest of them have like half fish people and dead people and.
Well, this one was just the ride. It was just like they're going on an adventure at sea.
Totally. And it's so good. And Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is amazing. I think in all 5 movies.
I think it's crazy that they created this character like just based on the ride. And
I looked up an article that said that Jack Sparrow was inspired by Keith Richards and the skunk.
Oh, Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew. So yeah, Jack Sparrow is supposed to be some sort of Pepe Le Pew, Keith Richards combination.
Which kind of makes sense, but I don't see him as much of a womanizer as Pepe Le Pew, but maybe he is.
Well, when he goes back to Tortuga, those ladies always slap him.
That's true.
But anyways, so the first movie's great. Will Turner's great in it. Elizabeth.
I think I like...
That's the plot of the first movie.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
I think I like
Savvy?
her in the first one probably the best.
Totally.
Probably that one. And
actually, I liked her in the third one a lot. We'll get there. So the first one's really good, and that's roughly what happens. Mm-hmm. And the second movie rolls around, and things start to change quite a bit.
Yeah.
What's the story of the second one?
Okay, I'm just going to confirm the villain, because that's what brings me back to what... There's a lot of movies you watch in the last 4 days.
Yeah.
So the second one, the villain is Tentacle Dude?
Davy Jones, yes.
Okay. So Barnacle Team.
Yep, Team Barnacle.
So all I know is that Will is looking for his dad, and his dad is on a ship full of sea people. And by sea people, I mean people that are cursed.
Yeah.
Because
they're disgusting.
Oh my god. If I don't see another Barnacle,
I will say
for some time, I'd be perfectly okay.
I really love the Pirates franchise. Like, it's very high on my list of favorite franchises. I think they're wonderful. But they're some of the grossest movies I've ever seen.
They are so much darker than I thought they were.
Oh, for some reason, I thought there was
a child's movie. Let's
clarify that. Yeah. They are not family films.
No.
There's a perception because they're based on a Disney ride and they're a Disney franchise. These are absolutely not family films. They're all rated PG-13 for good reason.
Like, the first one is probably the only one that I was like, oh, okay, maybe. But like after that, I'm like, it is dark. There are disgusting things.
Yeah.
There are
dark,
like dirty
nasty,
jokes.
There's dirty jokes. Yeah, totally not family films.
Yeah.
But the second one, you were saying there's Team Barnacle, and you were saying Will's looking for his dad.
Yeah.
Again, good effort. He doesn't know his dad is anywhere in this one until he ends up on the Flying Dutchman with his dad.
All right. To be fair, this is another one that I've seen a lot, and so this was also when I was having my migraines, and so I was just like, I'm gonna go to bed. I'd watch like 30 minutes.
You didn't finish this one.
I didn't finish this one.
But 3, 4, and 5 you watched all the way through with me. So the second one yeah, so there's Jack has a spot appear on his hand, which
I thought that was
is
the third one.
the second and third one are the same movie, split in half. It's like Infinity War and Endgame. It's the same art. It's the same story.
But
But the spot appears in the second one on his hand, and they're running from the Kraken, and they're running from Davy Jones, and they're taking turns going on their ship, and then the new bad guy, what's his name again? The short little jerk.
oh, I don't know, but he plays a really like
Yeah,
good,
he represents
like-
the
bleep bleep.
what?
I was gonna say a swear word, but I don't know who your audience is.
Oh, just say an elementary school swear word.
He's a real big butthead.
Yeah, he is. He's a little fart-faced little butthole. What's his name?
I don't know.
Oh, this is gonna bug me.
He's in like 4 movies, and I have no idea who he is.
It'll come to me. Anyways,
He's also
he's
the,
representing the East India Trading Company's best interests and money and government, and it's all the same. And so he's just a corrupt jerk, and he wants to control the ocean, and he knows if he gets the heart of Davy Jones in his possession, he can threaten it and make Davy Jones do whatever he wants, aka kill all the pirates for him. So it's a chase for this, like, the heart of Davy Jones to control the ocean, and then Jack's like, if I stab the heart, I can live forever. And so, yeah, lots of chasing on
That's
ships.
the second one?
Yes. Why do you keep questioning me? And then, so they're chasing each other on all these ships, and then somehow they're all on, like, different ships, like, 6 times. Like, Will Turner is on the ship with the government, and he's on the Flying Dutchman.
So this is
and
the
he's
one
on
where,
the
like,
Pearl, and then
everyone's kind of, like, backstabbing each other, like, making plans with the
pretty
East
much.
India Trading Company.
Yeah. This is, so, and this
Is
is
this
the one.
the 3-hour one?
No, that's the next one.
Oh, gosh. No wonder I'm confused.
I told you, it's the same story. So it's
Apparently,
hard to even.
I think I watched more of 2 than I thought.
Yeah. But anyways, so this one's really good. I think it's really good. This one has a couple of the dumbest scenes in the whole franchise, though. It has the scene where they're about to cook and eat Jack. They like worship him as a god, and they're gonna cook and eat him.
Yeah, his pole vaulting.
And he runs away with a pole attached to his back, and then they like throw fruit at him, and he catches a ton of fruit right on the end of the pole.
Yeah, he's like a true fruit ninja.
And then it shifts, and it makes him fall backwards on a cliff, and then he falls down like 400-foot chasm, falls through a couple of bridges just onto flat ground, and he just shakes it off. It's like, come on. You could have made the scene just as meaningful without breaking physics again.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
And I'll accept your half fish people because they're following physics a little bit.
And I can get behind a curse.
Totally.
Well, before I'm like, you can't fly like that.
Yeah. So anyways, the third movie is a continuation of this.
Where they have to go rescue.
But now Will Turner knows he's chasing his dad. He's trying to save his dad because he promised his dad he would save him.
And then they have to get the
pirates, the pirate lords.
They have to get all the pirate lords together, and they have to rescue Jack to do it. And then they have Calypso.
Yes.
Who is like supposed
to. The second one ends with Dear Dharma saying to them, like, would you do anything to get back Wicked Jack? And they're like, yep, sure would. And then they're like, would you sail? She's like, would you sail to the ends of the earth? And then, sorry for my dumb accent. And then they're like, yep, no problem. You got it, lady. And then she's like, you're going to need a captain who's been there before. And then Barbossa walks down the stairs and roll credits. I remember seeing that in theaters being like, oh, what? And then I noticed this time that in the first scene where they're in her little hut earlier in the movie, you can see Barbossa's feet in an earlier scene. Like he's laying down, like his body is back there.
So that's who you're saying it is. Okay.
His body is like in the back of the room and you can see his boots. And I noticed that this time and I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's cool. But anyway, so they got to go to Davy Jones's locker to rescue Jack and stop him from imagining a ship full of Jacks and licking rock crab things.
I think that one's got to be, for some reason, anytime I think about Pirates, it's that scene, even though I thought it was like so much longer of a scene of him just like being in this wasteland, like talking to rocks and like losing his mind basically.
Yeah.
I thought it was so much longer. So like I thought the entire movie, you know, like some people make fun of the Harry Potter one where it's like, oh, it's just a giant camping trip. That's what I think of with this pirate movie. that it's just like Jack wandering around talking to himself, but
Yeah.
it clearly was not
Just
because
a small portion.
I thought all the events from 3 were in 2.
Yeah.
So
I will say I love the scenes of them getting to the locker, because like they have to sail through like these crazy frozen like caves and stuff, and they're all super cold, and then they have to sail the ship off this like crazy waterfall, and then they wash up on shore. Like they sail off the edge of the earth literally, and they wash up on shore, and they're in the locker, and then to get back they have to like flip the ship over. Like all of that I thought was really, really cool. I loved it. I do think that when they're in the locker where Jack's ship comes like sailing over the dune, where they're like, oh great, now what, where's Jack, and then he like comes sailing over the dune on the tide of rock crabs. I think that was really, really cool. And in the scene right after that where he's talking to them all, and he was like, no, I don't care about any of you, I'm leaving. And like,
oh, because he doesn't believe they exist.
yeah, he's like, 4 of you tried to kill me, one of you succeeded. Like points to Elizabeth. But what do you think of like the fake little off and on love story between Jack and Elizabeth?
I don't think it was needed. Every single time it like pulled me out of the story for some reason.
I agree. I don't like when Elizabeth took it seriously. I like when Jack joked about it.
Yeah, Jack joking about it seems like he was just flirting with everybody.
Yeah.
But as soon as Elizabeth is like, oh, but I can't choose between Jack and,
There
Will.
wasn't so much of that, but the fact that she like kissed him, and the fact that she like, even though
just
she
wasn't
did it to
needed.
trick him and lock him up and kill him.
I don't know. It's just the weird tension between them I just didn't really enjoy. I never
But
have.
I like the joking around that they did. But anyways, so the third one, obviously Will Turner stabs the heart and becomes the new captain of the Dutchman. And
You know what's funny?
happy day. And the scene, I also love the scene with the pirate lords gathering up the 9 pieces of 8 and everything. I love all that. I love how Elizabeth gets named the Pirate King. Like she goes from being like damsel in distress in the first movie
That's true.
to Pirate King in the third movie. So cool. And like I love all their like squabbling, and I love the different cultures represented, and I like how their ships match their different cultures. Like the design elements and stuff like historically kind of match up to those regions and stuff. I love that. I think that's really cool. The ship designs in general are one of my favorite things about all these movies.
My favorite. The funny thing is that I thought the Pirates franchise stopped at 3. I don't think that I realized that there was a 4 and 5 until we went and saw the 5th one in theaters. Like, was it whenever it came out a couple years ago?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, there's a new Pirates movie? That's weird. And then I had no idea about 4.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as we started watching it, I was like,
So 4 you had never seen. Do we have any final thoughts on 3? We can come back to it, but
I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh, okay, so, like when Will comes back and he like sails off into oblivion and like, you see the little 10-year-old, like whatever, that's how the whole thing ended. And I was like, well, that makes sense. It's kind of a happy ending.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
Do you, Disney?
So anyways, there is a Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Yeah.
It's called On Stranger Tides. And what's the story of that one?
This one I am
You watched this one like 2 nights ago. And
I
you watched the whole movie.
watched the whole movie, and because I hadn't seen it before, I was paying attention.
So 30 seconds or less, what was the story?
Jack is off to find the Fountain of Youth, but there's a whole bunch of Spaniards that are also after the Fountain of Youth, and Barbosa is working quote unquote on behalf of some
English royalty.
Yeah, I forgot his title.
Uh-huh.
To find the Fountain of Youth and to stop Spain from doing it because England doesn't want Spain to have any more power. And on the way, there's a whole bunch of shenanigans. They need to find a mermaid
Also, Blackbeard is looking for the Fountain of Youth, which is like
that's the other big
half the movie.
I forgot the other pirate. I'm sorry. So yeah, we have Blackbeard, and then we have his crew, and he's got a magical sword.
Controls his ship.
And so then they have to find these 2 chalices. They have to go find these chalices somewhere that is stored somewhere with this French dude.
Yep.
And then they have to go find mermaids, and they have to coax a tea out of a mermaid. And they get this other young priest boy who falls in love with a mermaid to trick a mermaid. Not really trick. He doesn't know what he's doing. And gets a tear. And then they go off and they find the fountain. And then they're all fighting. And the Spanish...
Fights ensue.
They destroy the Fountain of Youth. And there's other shenanigans going, oh yeah, Penelope Cruz is in this.
Yep.
Blackbeard's
daughter.
Then they're like... all that stuff happens. And Jack tricks Blackbeard and saves the day and saves the girl.
Yep.
And then the end.
That was way better. You did way better.
I feel like I'm doing one of those things that was on the radio. It was like they'd send one of their producers, whatever it was, to the movie theater, like hammered.
Yeah.
And then have him like explain the movie afterwards. I feel like I just did a terrible job. Was it Jose the producer?
No, you did great. Yeah, so that's pretty much what happens. I love the beginning of this one where Penelope Cruz is pretending to be Jack Sparrow. I thought that was a fun way to start the movie. Mm-hmm. And Jack impersonating a judge.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I like that they actually finally gave him a love interest. A little bit.
Yeah, that was cool.
That he gets the stirrings.
That was great. He wouldn't admit to like being in love with her.
Or like having feelings, heaven forbid.
Feelings. And he was talking to Gibbs and he was like, okay, there may at one point have been stirrings. And Gibbs is like, you don't mean feelings? And he's like, oh, fine, feelings. Like I had feelings.
But he says it like in the most Jack way possible.
Not so much come all the way to feelings, but more stirrings.
The potential to maybe one day have feelings.
Yeah, it was really funny. Yeah, that's pretty accurate description of the movie this time. I think that this is one of the best ships in the whole movie. I mentioned my affinity for the ship designs.
Oh, Queen Anne's Revenge.
Queen Anne's Revenge is
that was pretty good.
Incredible. It looks
it's
so
huge.
cool. I love how tall the back of it is, and I love him controlling the ship with his sword. I think that's a really fun thing that fits in this world. Another thing I just thought about, this is probably the least disgusting of all 5 movies.
Yeah, because it was mermaids.
Yeah, there's mermaids, and Blackbeard and his crew are just dudes.
Yeah, they're not. They're not cursed. So they have a magical sword.
They're not like nasty. The third one was probably the grossest movie by far. Because there's like, it's got tons of the nasty fish people covered in barnacles and like.
Oh, and the scene where like Jack has the hallucination where he actually becomes part of the ship.
And he licks his brain.
No.
Yeah, that one. The third one's nasty. Or like when Will Turner's dad has the barnacle on his cheek and it's actually coming out of its little shell. Me and Betty both almost threw up. There's a few things nastier in this world than barnacles. Like just the empty barnacle shells make me want to vomit. And then when they come out, it's like, oh, nope. So yeah, those movies are some of the grossest movies I think I've ever seen in my life.
Which is funny because like a lot of sea creatures don't weird me out. But as soon as you have
context though, so it's like, I'm like, oh, they're pirate monsters. This is fun still.
Yeah.
Like, so they get away with it, but man, is it nasty.
But yeah, there's like parts of like some of the shark things. I'm like, what is on his face? There's like a starfish slapped to his cheek. And I'm like,
just
ugh.
Ocean bits.
And or on Davy Jones, like the weird little nubs that are like
he has
breathing.
One short sucker on one side of his face that like opens,
Pulsed.
like pulses. Yeah, it's a little gross.
And it was like anytime he enunciated anything, I'm just like...
Do you just want to slice it off and fry it and cook it and eat it?
No, I don't want any calamari from Davy Jones.
You don't want Davy Jones calamari?
No.
Yeah,
Brody.
so... Yeah, we're off track. That movie's nasty. But the 4, though...
That was pretty. I mean, I have more questions.
Felt more like 1 than 2 and 3 did.
I think... How much time was there between 3 and 4?
Like, there's a good chunk. It came, so when it came out, people were almost mad. Like it felt like a cash grab from Disney, because like I think the world was just starting to become lukewarm on Johnny Depp as a person, and then this movie came out, and there was just like, well, Will Turner and Elizabeth aren't even in it, and like,
yeah,
I don't know. I just think I liked it. I thought it was just more of this universe that I get a kick out of. So I was pretty happy, and it didn't do anything to like sully the previous movies. I mean that negatively. It's weird to say that now that I have a friend named Sully in my life. I would never have thought about like using that
yeah.
word and getting distracted. Anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was never meant to disparage the previous films. Like nothing in it
Well, I think
ruins the canon for me.
It's funny because you don't really need 4. Like you can watch 1, 2, 3, 5, and
Totally.
and there's nothing. Like it's like an
It's
add-on.
standalone, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of a standalone. But I like the story a lot, and I thought it was really fun, and I thought that the characters and acting were good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still very confused about what happened to the kid who kissed the mermaid.
Well,
like-
you don't need to be confused. It's just a mystery. He got dragged into the ocean.
But it's like
He was dying.
So he was dying. But I know that she cared
Yeah.
for him, so she's like, "Oh, I kind of want to save you from the agony." But
Either
did she
way,
eat him?
That's one version of saving him.
Did she eat him? Did she let her friends eat him?
That's possible. But or
That's
she
dark.
Maybe she used mer magic to turn him into a merman.
Because like
Or maybe she just healed him with seaweed and put him back.
I have so many questions based on just that one 30-second clip.
Yeah, we'll never know what happened to that little priest boy,
No,
that young man.
I was just so confused. Like they finally like find redemption and find each other,
Yeah.
find peace between the mermaids and the dudes.
Well, but that's fine though. Like, cause what else would have happened? How else do those two get a happy ending? Because if he pulls her out of the water again and she grows her legs, yeah, she could live a life with him on land, but she's totally out of her element,
That's
away
true.
from her whole world. So now they reversed it and brought him into her world, and I'm just gonna assume that he turned into some sort of fish man.
Yeah, I just
I think
don't want him to get eaten.
I think my official headcanon is going to be that he turned into a merman, but where he stayed human on bottom and went fish from the waist up. I'm going to go with that. But he's really happy still, and she's happy. Happily ever after with a backwards merman.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
I think there was a Futurama episode that had a merman in it like that, and I was like, that's really funny. And then the 5th movie happened. Mm-hmm. And the 5th movie's awesome. What was the story of the 5th movie, Betty? Huh, Betty? What do you got, Betty? What's
About
the
a
story,
kid
Betty?
looking for his dad.
Finally.
And a girl looking for or trying to prove, I don't know, to her late father or missing dad that she could find what he couldn't find.
She can do science,
Yes.
even though she's a woman.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, STEM girls, what up?
Get it?
Get it? So yeah, that's pretty.
And then
True.
they need Jack to do it.
What's everybody looking for?
The
Trident of Poseidon.
Yep.
That's what they want. And then there's dead pirates.
Yeah, that's kind of. There's very dark, creepy things with like.
They're not family films.
No.
Absolutely not.
And then there's like blood and ooze every single
It's
time he's like.
black goop in his mouth.
I know. I'm like, is it oil?
Just spit it out and then talk to me.
And okay, the one thing that bothered me
But he's like permanently underwater though. Like he's like an underwater
because
ghost man.
everything's like floating.
yeah.
funny.
So I think like inside he's like his body's full of like seawater, and that's why he always has like black liquid in his mouth, because
Yeah.
he's like sort of
So
permanently
the
underwater.
thing that bothered me with this movie was any time that what's his butt was around Jack Sparrow, he didn't call him like Jack or whatever it is. It was just like Sparrow, Sparrow, come here, Sparrow, and I'm like, are you nuts? Like, I don't know. I just didn't like it.
What are you talking about?
He called him Sparrow the entire time.
Captain Salazar?
Yeah, he said it funny every time.
Well, he has an accent, babe.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's Javier Bardem's accent.
No, he said it like he was a little bit deranged.
He said, Jack Sparrow. He just said like a sparrow, but with like a lot of water in his mouth.
I just didn't like that he just called him Sparrow and he didn't say Jack.
A sparrow.
I don't know,
I don't know. I apologize.
but that's about it.
Yeah, I liked this one a lot. I think it was really good.
What was the physics thing in this movie?
This was what was the physics thing in 4?
Oh, when Jack is jumping from tree to tree.
Oh, yep. In 4, he like tied to a palm tree.
Yep.
He climbs the palm tree and
Backwards.
Then he loops a coconut around the end of the rope and then flings it around the palm tree next to him and then pulls the palm tree towards him and flings himself like 80 feet through the air and lands on top of another palm tree.
I'm like, what? What are you, a flying squirrel? Figure it out.
What are you, a squirrel or something? And then this one, the physics issue was one of the first scenes in the movie. They drag a building through the town with 4 horses. Was it 4 or 6?
Might have been 6.
We'll give them credit, benefit of the doubt, and we'll say it was 6 horses.
But even that,
whole building with a huge, heavy safe inside the building, just barreling through town like 35 miles an hour.
So many things. Where it's like the wood would have like splintered and like hit and like fallen apart. The house was not. If it was pulled away from the foundation,
yeah,
certain things would have like cracked and fallen off.
The way they hooked up to that house, I have a decent amount of experience building things. I can guarantee you that just is straight impossible what happened there.
Yeah.
The way the house was hooked up to those chains. But it was fun. It was kind of a fun thing to watch. It would have been cooler if there was like, I don't know, maybe it's like really muddy outside during that scene and like that's why it slides easier. Or maybe it was like not yet done being built. Like it was the brand new bank that they, I don't know. Either way, or just the plan was to just pull the safe out.
Yeah.
If they just would have let them just pull the safe through the back wall, and now they're pulling a safe all around town.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have all the jack shenanigans. But then you don't
give all the jack-nanigans. So so that was a physics issue with that one, and I like that movie. So overall, let's go through each of them.
I thought number 5 was probably the funniest of all of them.
It was really funny. Like the jokes land more.
Yeah, they land better.
Yeah, one was good. Was funny too.
And I like that. Kind of like, what is it? Henry Turner and Karina are it's very similar like to what a like Will and Elizabeth would have been.
Yeah.
So
wait, what was the mermaid's name? Serena. And then Karina in the next movie.
Karina?
Yeah. It's Karina.
Karina? I thought it was Karina.
There's no such thing as Karina.
I don't know. I think it's because I have Corona on my mind.
It's either Corinne or Karina.
I don't know.
Well, not Karina.
I guess that.
Unless you're just frustrated with Corinne and you're like, Karina. So let's see. We both liked the first one. Mm-hmm. And the second one, I liked that one. I mean, I like all of them, but like, I would say the second one is probably my least favorite of the 5 of them because it just has too many of those silly physics moments for me. And just like, it's just stupid. And then the third one I don't love the Jack imagining Jack's bit. I don't find that very fun. And then the whole kind of the locker stuff in general, I don't really care too much about. But basically the rest of that third movie I think is fantastic. It's really good. And then the fourth one I think is solid, and the fifth one is also really solid.
Yeah. I really like the first one. I like the originality of it.
Yeah.
I'd say like 1. I really liked 5. Probably like 1, 5, 2, 3, 4.
Will that be your ranking?
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. I want us to rank these at the end.
Oh, well, you got mine.
There you go. 1, 5, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
4 last?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't really into it.
Okay, so let's talk about just our favorite. Who's your favorite character from these movies? I love Jack himself. I think Johnny Depp is amazing in all 5 movies as Jack. And I think people need to get off his case a little bit so that he's not like afraid to be in movies more.
Why are they on it?
Because he's weird. And I think did he cheat on someone? He got semi-canceled. I don't remember why, but I remember reading about it and being like, oh, that's not a big deal. You guys should leave him alone.
I have no idea.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to look it up. But the Gibbs, I love Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
But who are your favorite characters throughout this whole franchise?
Might be Jack.
I think mine's Jack, which is impressive because
Will kind of annoys me at times, and Elizabeth gets better.
Yeah.
Barbosa's okay. trying to think who else I'm like. I don't like the two.
Did you say Will gets better?
No, Elizabeth gets
Elizabeth gets better. I was gonna say I think Will. I love Will at the beginning,
better. I think Will gets worse.
and
I
then he
think
gets
Detroit.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes less likable as the movies
I
continue.
think it's just because the way that they portray him is just like being so torn.
In the third movie, I really like Captain Norrington or Commodore Norrington.
Yeah.
I love him in the third movie, like his redemption arc, even though he betrays people and takes the heart of Davy Jones to Lord Beckett. I told you I'd figure out his name.
There you go.
Yeah, even though he kind of is the bad guy a little bit, I like his whole screw it attitude leading up to that point. And yeah, I don't know. I like him in that movie.
I also
And I like the
monkey.
running joke how Jack was always rooting for Norrington. He always wanted Elizabeth to end up with Norrington.
Oh.
Like he says in the first movie, he was like, I just want you to know I was rooting for you, mate. And then like it happens again in the third movie. He was like, I've always rooted for you or something like that. He brings it up again.
I like the monkey and how much Jack doesn't like him.
That is really funny. I like that too.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say what about villains?
Ooh. I would say Davy Jones is probably my favorite villain. Barbossa has too many where he's like nice and he's not. I don't know. Tried to be like a true villain. But like Davy Jones is like,
Davy Jones is a great villain.
also the actor who does him, it just plays like the
Bill Nighy.
Yeah.
Love Bill Nighy.
yeah.
Do you feel death? I
Yeah.
just edited a clip into the podcast. That's what that was. Why are you laughing at me editing clips into the podcast?
No, because I think you need to start doing that line when you're getting ready for a Scottish accent before.
He's not even Scottish. He's not that Scottish.
But like you always do the like brave line.
He's definitely the brave line's way more Scottish than that.
Oh, for me, like he is like 100%. Like I hear all the burr.
I just hear like a weird squid man.
Well, I think it's because he's also in like
feel death. Like he
he's
says,
also in like
feel.
he's in Underworld and stuff like that too.
Yeah, Bill Nighy is amazing. I love him. I love him in Love Actually too. But the brave line is way more Scottish. If you could change your fate, would you?
I don't hear a difference.
If you could change your fate, would you? Yeah, he's great though. He's an awesome
This is
villain.
a podcast of Brian's accents.
Beckett is a really good villain. I don't like him, but I hate him.
I guess, yeah,
which you're
he-
supposed to hate him.
He
So
is probably the best villain.
he's the best
because
villain.
he has no redemption. He's just a butthead.
He has no remorse. He just is. Yeah, he's like Emperor Palpatine. Like he's just only evil.
Like Umbridge.
Yeah. And then I love Blackbeard. I love the performance we got for Blackbeard. Fun fact about the Blackbeard is when he first shows up and he walks out of his cabin in the movie, his beard is like smoking and it just adds a mystical element to him and makes him more scary looking. And the fun fact is that the real Blackbeard in real life put wicks in his beard and he would light them so that his beard would like smoke to make himself more intimidating. So that's based on stories from real life. So I thought that was really cool.
I like kind of how historically accurate a lot of these movies are. There's a lot of like attention to detail on all of them.
Like what else?
I just like the period, like
Just like the look of it?
Yeah.
The accurate visuals?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, and the East India Trading Company was a real thing.
and like the places that they actually go, because they're in like Shanghai, they're in all over the place, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Earth having a flat edge to sail off
Oh,
of.
totally.
That's obviously real. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say favorite characters, Jack kind of just wins that one for us. And then Gibbs, I would say, is maybe number 2 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the favorite and least favorite scenes? We mentioned our least favorite scenes, most of those like physics complaints. I don't like most of the I don't like the scenes where Will Turner and Elizabeth are worried about the relationship. Like it just the stakes of their relationship fall on blind eyes. How do I say this? I don't care that much because there's so much more crazy stuff happening. Like, I'm more concerned about who's going to get the heart of Davy Jones and control the ocean.
Oh, you mean them like trying to figure out like, hey, marry us in the middle of this giant sea battle?
that was cool. I'm talking about like leading up to it where they're like playing this cat and mouse. Are you mad at me? Why aren't you talking to me? Who cares? Like there's a squid-faced giant villain trying to kill all the pirates are teaming up together to survive. Like that is way more interesting to me than your little squabbling. But yeah, I don't know what other least favorite scenes I would have. Do you have anything jump into your mind?
The one where Jack is talking to himself and he envisions him as part of the ship, and it's the grossest thing I've ever seen.
I thought him as part of the ship wasn't that gross to me.
I couldn't handle it.
Because it was like he was so far gone that he was just like when the old guy that is part of the ship shows up, I don't think he's as gross as the other fish people that have like fresh barnacles on them and like muscles on their neck and stuff. Like
when Will's dad is like first comes out and like marks Jack's hand. Yeah. Like during that whole thing, I'm like, oh, just go back into the ship, please.
Nasty.
Or when she's like, or I think it's when he's talking to Elizabeth, being like, oh, is my son here? He said he was going to come back.
That's when the barnacle crawls out of his cheek. It's disgusting.
I can't do it.
So yeah, any of that nasty crap.
I can't think of like...
They could have toned that down a little bit and still got the effect across. But it really worked.
It's like making me sweat even thinking about it right now. I'm getting queasy.
If the goal was to just gross people out, you did it. What about favorite scenes? This should be more fun. They all have a ton of amazing scenes, in my opinion. I love the sword fight in the first one between him and Will Turner in the sword shop. I think that's a really great scene. I love all the banter of, like in the jail cell.
The beach scene with Jack and Elizabeth, where talking about all the rum.
Oh, that's wonderful. Where she pretends to get drunk with him.
Yep.
Yep. That was really good.
Yep. Probably that one.
And then the next day she's like, that signal's 1,000 feet high. They're going to find us. And he was like, I hate you. And he walks away and sees a ship coming for them immediately. Yeah. He's like, shoot. There'll be no living with her after that. So in the first movie, those are all really great scenes. What else jumps out? I think that the final fight with him and Barbossa is great, where Barbossa's like, what now, Jack? We be two immortals locked in a battle to the death or whatever. And then Jack's just like waiting for the right moment. And then he shoots him and he kills him or whatever for a minute. And then, so those are all really cool. And the second movie, to me, the first time we see Davy Jones and his crew, I was like, whoa, this is sick. Just like, because it's just very epic and crazy and his ship looks cool. Do you remember anything from the second one?
Like
the one with the boy trying to find his dad?
Yeah. No, I think it's because 2 and 3 kind of combined together as one movie in my head.
They are. I already told you they are one movie.
I know.
Well,
that's why I'm having a hard time with distinction.
And what about the third movie then?
I don't know.
The pirate lords getting together, I loved so much. And then when they go to battle, Elizabeth gives that big old speech. And then they're like, raise the colors. And they're like, raise the colors. And then all the other ships raise their colors and get ready for battle.
I will say,
Love
the one lord that doesn't speak the entire time. And all of a sudden he's like, we're going to war.
Oh.
That's probably the best one.
And so we shall go to war.
Yeah, just this very high-pitched voice. You're like, all right. Didn't see that one coming.
That was really funny. Did you like Keith Richards showing up as Jack's dad?
Yeah.
That was cool.
The random like rock star cameos throughout this Pirates franchise.
There are 2 of them.
Yeah.
We get what's his butt?
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney in the 5th one for a second.
So I thought that they were done again after this 5th one, but you informed me.
Are you skipping ahead? Are we done talking about all 5 movies already?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. We didn't even get to the 4th movie. I'm talking about favorite scenes.
Oh, I thought we were just talking about it in general. We're going through every single movie?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So from the fourth movie, I love the scene where Blackbeard shows up initially and controls his ship with a sword. What scenes did you like from the fourth one?
The fight scene with him and Penelope Cruz,
That was really good.
where she is him and he is her.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then I like the end when Jack tricks him and he's like, no, this one has the tear. If you drink it, she'll die. And he's like, she loves me. It's fine. I'll take her life. Like, she wants to save me. I'll let her. And he drinks it and Jack tricks him. So I thought that was really cool. But let's see. Yeah, what about the fifth one? I love all the stuff with her being like, it's science. I'm not a witch. You guys, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's witchcraft.
I love when she breaks into like the guy's like astronomy place and she's like, oh, don't worry, we're 2 degrees off or whatever it is.
I fixed your telescope for you.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I get it.
And all his responses is like, witch. Like, he just puts a gun in her.
And
he yells for help. He's like, help, there's a witch in my study. And then Jack wanders in just for no reason. And he goes, there's a witch and a pirate in my study. It sounds ridiculous.
Actually, I take it back. My favorite part when she's like, oh, I'm a scientist and a horologist. And they're like, oh, my mother was a horologist.
Everyone's got to earn a living. No shame in that. That was really good. I like that a lot.
And she's just like, I don't get it. I'm a horologist. Like, I look at the stars. This is what I do.
She's like, it's the study. Oh, never mind. Like, yeah. So I like all that. I think that's really good. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about this during the fifth movie, that the young guy and girl, so William Turner's son, Henry Turner, and then this girl, Karina Barbosa, as we would come to find out, as an actor and an actress, we like them both a lot. And we're both kind of surprised we haven't seen them both more.
Yeah.
Because neither one of them has done much in the last couple of years. So, I don't know. I thought they were both charismatic and interesting to watch.
She was in a Netflix series that I was obsessed with, and she did an amazing job in that.
Like I said, hasn't done much.
Just because you haven't watched it doesn't mean anything.
Well, it's a TV show. I still live, my brain is still in 2005. Like, you're not allowed to be in a TV show if you're a cool actor. I just don't like TV shows as much as movies.
I know.
And so I'm biased.
Never-ending battle.
Yeah. They're too long. And
Do you think
they're not as special because there's so much of them.
Do you think
there's 700 episodes of Star Trek?
We're moving on. Do you think...
I actually love Star Trek. That's a terrible example.
Are you done?
I guess.
Do you think we're going to see those two in the next movie?
That's a great question. So...
Because you have Barbosa and you have a Turner.
The next movie is being pitched more as like... I'm hearing it talked about as like a bit of a reboot. And I don't even know what that means to them. Because I don't see them abandoning the whole world they've built and literally having a new version of...
Or is it just going to be another standalone, kind of like the way that 4 could have been?
That's possible. And then if people
because I don't know
like
where
the
they're
new
going to
characters...
take... Like, what other
I do think that it's...
out there is there?
I think it's possible, and I'll have to look into this, but I think it's possible that we could get... a Johnny Depp-less Pirates movie, like no Jack Sparrow.
How is that gonna? Is that even possible?
Of course, it's passable.
But like, it's hard to like. I don't know if I'd enjoy a Pirates movie without Johnny Depp.
I mean, I'd prefer that he's in it. I love Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, but yeah, I'm just hearing it talked more as if it's going to be some sort of reboot, and so. So
what other sea creature have they not, or sea myth have they not gone over?
Well, that's the thing that's also interesting is they got the trident of Poseidon.
They got mermaids. They got Kraken.
They broke the trident.
Yeah.
Which ended all the curses of the ocean.
Yeah.
So any curse of the ocean was broken. So any like zombies or weird skeletons or dead people presumably no longer exist. However, there's a post-credit scene where Davy Jones rolls up into William Turner's bedroom while he's sleeping and raises his claw over like classic horror movie style And then Turner wakes up and realizes it was just a dream. But then they pan down to the floor and there's one barnacle in a little pool of water, which makes you think that he was actually there in some fashion. And so they leave a little bit of a door open for Davy Jones to return. So, which obviously,
And the question
I don't know if
is,
it's going to happen or not, but
so Will's curse was done, but did the rest of his crew?
yeah, I assume they were all free to go.
But if Davy Jones is still a sea creature,
I don't know what happened to Davy Jones. I mean, the heart was stabbed, and he presumably died.
and he fell into the abyss.
Yeah. Wait, he fell into an abyss? Oh, he did. He fell into the typhoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, into that like big
vortex
of water.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. That ship battle was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that. I'll add that to the list of things I really
But
liked.
so they've gone over mermaids and they've gone over like krakens and other crazy stuff. Like, what other myths out there? I guess, I mean, I don't know all of the myths, but
Yeah. That's a good question.
like,
I mean,
what other like big sea thing? Is it just gonna be like a giant evil whale that's like charging after people?
like a whole crew of whales on a ship.
Yeah, because we didn't see that.
I'm just joking. You just said yes.
Mm-hmm.
A crew of whales.
Yeah.
Blue whales. On
No,
a
you gotta have some
huge
orcas in there.
Blue whale-sized ship.
Yeah, you just get some orcas
It's
in
like
there.
thousands of feet long.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a beluga.
They're just enormous whales that talk and walk and wear
Mm-hmm.
clothes.
And you just have Dory over there trying to communicate for him.
Yeah. I actually had someone pitch to me when I was at Disneyland recently. I think it was Trevor's idea that he told me. I was asking them like where they would want to see the franchise go. And in that ride, there's a character named Red. And back in the day, she was like just a woman for sale when the ride was first invented.
Oh, yeah.
But times change and we don't like to talk about embarrassing history of selling people anymore. And so now it's a woman. She is like running the auction and her name is Red. And she's just like a really cool looking
I can see that.
piratey lady.
And so go somewhere with
he was
that.
suggesting like following her around on adventures. And I was like, that could be really fun to find like a cool, just like,
If they cast that right, that would be amazing.
yeah, if they know who I pictured playing it was what's her name? Lily She's the Wasp. She was in Lost. She's the Wasp.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know her last name.
What's her name?
You mean the Wasp, as in the Wasp and the Ant-Man?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
Something Lily.
I didn't watch
I can't
Lost.
think of names today, but I think
See, I don't watch all TV. I didn't watch Lost.
I think she would be great. I think she would be amazing in that role because she's like not too. I don't want someone super young because I want it to be believable that it's like
That
She's-
they've had tails.
like has a history and like depth to the character and like when the characters are just young, it's like okay, cool. Let's
I
cast
don't know
these.
if I can see her as a like somebody kind
Cast
of
these
saucy.
young. Oh, she's super sassy. She's sassy in Ant-Man.
Eh.
She's super sassy in Ant-Man. That's a weird thing to say. Anyways, so I looked up the future of the franchise, and there's a lot of conflicting information. I'm going to read a couple things here. It says on Wikipedia here, in August 2018, it was reported that the sixth film was still in development with Terry Rossio back to writing the screenplay. And then it says, by early 2020, talks of a sixth film began again, with Depp reportedly set to reprise his role. Below that, it says the reboot idea was canceled, actually.
Nice. Okay.
It says January 2019, it was said that Disney could save up to $90 million by excluding Depp from future installments, although not confirming nor denying the presence of Captain Jack Sparrow. However, in February of last year, Reese and Rennick, who were supposed to be writing the movie, I believe, departed the project, and by October last year were replaced with Craig Mazin and Ted Elliott. So apparently there are people writing a script for one with Johnny Depp in it again.
Cool.
So I'm in. I don't know what they're going to talk about. in this next one. I think it'd be fun to add Red and
Maybe she could be the big bad, like the other pirate. That he
no,
has to
she's
go
not a
against.
villain.
You don't know.
She certainly is not a villain.
Well, maybe not a villain, but even
A point of contention for a
yes,
bit. They fight each other and
a
then
rival.
and then they're mates. They fight
Yeah.
someone worse.
I
Yeah, that could be cool.
just a rival pirate, if you will.
A pirate.
A pirate.
When you need a very good pirate needs a pirate. So the definitive ranking. Oh no! First, I have a question. Is there anyone you want to replace the actor or actress that played a part? So you replace an actor or actress with anyone else.
No, some of them are so iconic. I don't know if I could see anybody else doing it.
I could
That's the hard
absolutely
part.
see Keira Knightley being replaced. Because I only enjoy watching her for about 40% of her performance.
Hmm.
And I could maybe say the same for Orlando Bloom, but now I'm wondering if it's just the way they were written.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe leave them alone. You could do... Who could you replace? I don't know. I mean, I thought it was actually cast really well.
Because I know they probably had other people in mind for Jack Sparrow, but like now looking back,
No, why would you even... It's not even
I'm sure that
discussion.
they probably had other casting calls and whatever in the beginning, but I don't think anyone else would have done as well as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. I'm going to have to edit this silence out.
Sorry. I was thinking of like maybe an RDJ, but
So I'm going to look up original Jack Sparrow casting and see if anyone's names come up. It's fun Googling things on the podcast. People love that. Mm-hmm. People prefer that people do that.
yeah.
So here's an article right away that says people that almost played Jack Sparrow. Wow. This person wasn't only being considered for the role, they were straight up offered the role, but turned it down because it clashed with filming a different movie. Do you want to know who it is?
Yes, I do.
Jim Carrey.
What?
Jim Carrey was offered the role of Jack Sparrow.
I can kind of see that.
I mean, it would have been a completely different character, but it would have been completely incredible because Jim Carrey only does good.
Yeah. I think they would have played up more of the comedy role in that one, though.
That's crazy. Wow.
I mean, he's used to having a lot of makeup on his face.
So legend also has it that up for the part alongside Johnny Depp and Jim Carrey was Michael Keaton.
I'm really happy about that.
That would have been a little bit more, I picture it being more grounded.
Yeah.
And stuff. Oh, wow. Apparently Christopher Walken
No.
was up for the role of Jack Sparrow.
No.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Do a iconic Jack Sparrow line, but as Christopher Walken.
Oh, God. Okay. And really bad eggs.
I could not have handled that.
How about this? Hugh Jackman.
Ooh.
He was up for the role of Jack Sparrow. Disney didn't think that Jackman was a big enough star to carry it, so they went with Depp. This was in 2003. Wow.
Wolverine just wasn't doing it.
No, it wasn't doing it for him. Apparently the Jack part of his name is inspired by Hugh Jackman, but he's not a big enough star. I don't know how that works. Robert De Niro was offered the role reportedly, but declined it. I wish I would have let it. This is very interesting.
You need to start with this from now on.
Yeah. Well, if you would have given me more time to research.
Oh yeah, it's my fault. Wait, whose podcast is this? Who's the guest?
Wow, he thought that because it was a pirate movie that it would tank at the box office. Not didn't quite get that one right, Bobby. But then he ended up playing a Captain Shakespeare in Stardust. And Stardust actually kind of did flop in the theaters.
It did.
Here's
It didn't hold
this
up.
one's actually pretty fun. Matthew McConaughey. I mean, that'd be interesting. That's the last one I have on the list.
Again, I don't think I could hear, like, the Jack Sparrowisms coming out of Matthew McConaughey's mouth.
I mean, they would just be different isms.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, all right, all right. Show me that horizon. And then Jim Carrey just like whipping his sword around like a madman. Somebody stop me.
All right, I think we've officially lost our minds.
The wheels have come off. Yeah, so overall, I had a great time watching Pirates with you. I love those movies. I try to give them a rewatch every year. It's fun.
I know, I feel... Are we in, like, trilogy era now? Is this it's like where we just go into all the other trilogies?
What are you talking about?
Like Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, Matrix. I'm trying to think of, like, iconic trilogy stuff.
Are you saying, are we just going to start watching a bunch of trilogies all of a sudden?
Yeah.
I kind of always do that because everything has prequels and trilogies now, and I can't watch things out of order because I'm OCD about it.
Yeah, we did do that for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And Fast and Furious. I think that's what's got me in the...
Oh, I was so annoyed. I was in the middle of my Fast and Furious rewatch when it got delayed.
Ugh, how inconvenient for
I
you.
know. Like, also, a lot of people died, but mainly I had to, like, I'm going to have to watch them again. Ugh. Send me your condolences, please. For my Fast and the Furious rewatch getting interrupted.
So, there was a meme going around, something about, like, you know, if you could do... What's the first thing you're going to do, like, after all this goes back to normal?
Yep.
Obviously, there's a funny line after that, but I look at Brian and I'm like, you are going to go to the movie theater. You may not even wait for me to catch up. You're going to be at the movie theater.
Yep.
You're going to watch whatever the heck is there.
Jay Inslee is going to go on the news and say, like, starting from this moment on, like, movie theaters, blah, blah, blah. I won't even listen to the rest of his sentence because I'll be in the car driving to the movie theater. Yeah.
It'll be like...
I'll see.
It'll be like whatever time the movie theater opens.
I can't
it'll be
wait
like
to
10
see.
a.m. or something like that.
I can't wait to find out what movie I see. Like what the first in theater movie experience for me post quarantine is, because I'll watch anything.
Like,
I told my dad earlier I would watch an hour and a half of commercials if you give me popcorn and soda and put me in a movie theater. I don't care.
True.
I'm gonna watch. It's gonna be some weird, mildly interesting movie that I would not have otherwise seen in theaters. I bet. Because all the big movies have been pushed back.
So there are very few things that you will get up and like set an alarm for willingly. And one of those is the Browns. Anything with the Browns games.
Yep.
You know, anything to do with that.
Go Browns.
The next one, it will be whatever the day that we are released to go back to the movie theater.
Well, except I don't go to movies in the morning.
You will.
I won't. I still wouldn't. But I would go the first day available. I'd be there.
Like first time slot,
that
first
evening.
Just give me my popcorn.
I'm going to see every movie that they show.
You're just going to hang out in the theater all day because you have that damn movie pass.
Yeah. Regal Unlimited, baby.
So
I'm about to live in this theater.
So just be like, all right, next one. Just like go down to the next hall, whatever they're showing.
Yeah.
Next time.
Anyways, before we leave, you guys, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe and a follow, or whichever apply that I just said to the Instagram account. Most of what I do is on Instagram. We have a Twitter as well. Both of them are just the Movie Jungle. So get in contact with me. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. Suggestions for the next week's episode would be fun. I'd love to have some suggestions. Maybe if I can remember, I'll put like a questionnaire out there, and we can get some suggestions from the audience. But yeah, reach out. You can email me. It's at moviejunglepod@gmail.com. So if you've got some longer thoughts, go ahead and shoot me an email. I don't think I've got an email yet. I want an email.
Make him open his mail.
Somebody email me, please. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, reach out. Let's talk. And thank you for listening. Betty, any final thoughts?
I may return. It all depends on how well you guys behave. Let me know if you want me back.
And do you want to what's your catchphrase?
I'm supposed to have a catchphrase?
That's a good one. Thank you for listening, everybody. And
Peace.
I started a catchphrase. Sorry, you said peace like we were out of here, and I just kept rolling.
Typical.
I started a catchphrase with Sully on the live.
And what is it?
It's a jungle out there. Watch a movie.
That's so corny.